Hi guys, Tom Morrison here, and I want to take you through flexibility for dummies. So what I mean by that is a lot of people would assume that they're not flexible and that's just the way it is, so they'll avoid certain things. And the biggest thing, if you want to get fit or want to try any sort of sport or anything like that, is you need to be able to move well before you actually go and do that sport. And it's not actually the job of the instructor of that certain thing to really watch out for those things. It's really down to you about looking after yourself and knowing what you can and can't do. So it's very important that you learn more about your own body and how your own body works. So I always use a standard toe touch as an assessment sort of thing. So just basically see with straight legs how far you can get down to your toes or the ground or whatever. So don't send your bum back like that. Try and just fold over the hip and see how low you can get to the floor from there. If you're new to doing anything or you're overly stiff, you may find that your toe touch will look like this, and that will be as far as you can get. And there's nothing wrong with that, that's just where you are. Take a note of it and then start to work on it. So any sort of exercises that you would do after that, any sort of stretching, yoga, things like that, retest your toe touch and you should find an improvement. So instead of being about here, you could maybe work your way down to there. So if you're very lucky, you may on the first go just get straight down to your toes, and if you're very lucky again, then the next morning when you wake up, you'll still have that range of motion. If you're like me and many other people, you won't. You'll wake up the next morning and you'll feel like you're back at square one again, but you're really not. It takes that constant effort and doing it daily to work to build your flexibility up more basically. So you may start off here, but gradually over time you'll start to wake up in the mornings and you'll start to be creeping down to here, and then over time, boom, you'll hit the floor and you'll wake up first thing in the morning and you will be able to just do that and you won't even think about it anymore. So it's a big thing, especially for people that have been doing sports their whole life or are just already flexible. They take it for granted, and a lot of people just aren't, and that's how you can get hurt. And like I said earlier on, I think if you get hurt, injured, you're not going to be able to then continue doing your fitness things. So you're going to get demotivated and you're not going to train, and then you're just going to start eating biscuits and playing computer games all day, which isn't great for your health. So really working on your flexibility is a big thing. So another one I like to use is the deep lunge test, which is from this position here, seeing can you get your elbow down to the floor from that position there. If you're happening to do this test and you're there, and that's as far as you can get, that's okay. Just keep working on the rotations and just keep going to where you can go. Don't try and force anything, just gradually keep working your way into it. And as I said, every day you'll find small improvements, and that's the safest way to increase your flexibility. Small improvements every day. If you're going to really go at it and do a lot of myofascial stuff and a lot of loaded stretching all in one go, and you've never done anything like that before, your body might freak out a bit and you could end up with an injury from that itself. So you do want to take your time with it and really just play it by ear. If you wake up the next day after doing something and you feel pain or any sort of discomfort like in the morning, then you know you need to back off a wee bit. So say you've spent all day basically trying to touch your toes, and you wake up the next day and you're really stiff around here, then you know maybe lay off a wee bit. So do a little bit less and see how you get on. Then gradually, you know, from there you can build it up. So if you wake up the next day after doing that and you feel awesome, then yeah, you can start to build it up a bit more and start doing fancier things like that basically. What else do I want to go through? So yeah, your flexibility test, so your toe touch here, overhead, see how high you can get your arms up over your head, your squat, that's all great ones to go for. The deep lunge test as well, I absolutely love. And yeah, where are we? Yes, impact. So if you're wanting to go and play sports, so this is a big one, football injuries, torn hamstrings, things like that. If you are really good at controlling all this and you can do everything nice and slow and you're a movement master, it doesn't really matter if you're going to take that out onto the field. If you can't, boom, change direction nice and fast, absorb impact and be able to spring off of that, then you're not as strong as you could be. So simple drills, like the first one here, this is so simple, it's just quite literally hopping. So if you've done a lot of work on your ankles and your knees and your hips and everything, and you've got really good range of motion in that, then you want to start building up those positions to start to be able to take impact, and then you can start to make it a bit more fancy with precision jumps. So you can go from this position here, jump to this way, land, jump to this way, land, jump to this way, land, and then you can start to work on absorbing that impact and then rebounding off it. So from here, you would jump and just hop and try and land in the same place. It's one of my favourite drills for coordination and for balance, and like I said, that rebound strength. So you need to work on things dynamically as well. So your passive stretching, so passively would just be wherever you can, a better example of that, passive would be wherever I can kick my leg up to. Active is wherever you can lift your leg up to. So that's as high as I can lift my own leg there without swinging into it. But here you can see a lot higher. So if you can shorten those gaps, you'll be a lot stronger for it. And just find ways you can sort of build yourself up into that. So a way if I wanted to work on that could be pull my knee up a bit higher and then start straightening my leg from there. And that's going to help me start to get that little bit of a range of motion. Okay? So any questions, guys, fire them in. If you find this helpful, like, share and tag people. So don't get disheartened if you feel like your flexibility is just not coming on. It really does take time. The more time you devote to it, the easier it will become and the more fun you're going to be able to have, guys. Okay? So I hope this helps.